What's up, everybody, and welcome to Direct Current Live. We'll call it that for now. This is going to predominantly be based on going through protocols that a lot of times we don't talk about when it comes to performance. I've gotten a lot of questions when it comes to how to use direct current devices for strength, for performance, for your sport. Where do you place the pads? We're going to make this quite simple. Today, I'm going to be using the RX 100. Something again that in the beginning we thought was a big no-no, and we realized it's quite all right. And we're going to share it because we want you to be able to use this to the best of the ability that it has, the capabilities of the technology, and you'd be surprised on what it does. The strength and performance side is kind of the byproduct of what it truly does when it comes to the therapy, when it comes to getting people out of pain. I understand that, but it is a fantastic byproduct, something that I can vouch for, something that I've done over the course of years when I learned what this was. It is true, if you've followed ARP Neuro for some time, there was a year during COVID. For an entire year, I used this particular device for an entire year and did not touch a weight, and saw some increases in strength. I saw some increases in muscular gains. A lot of that had to do with taking me out of pain. I had a little bit of medial epicondylitis, golfer's elbow, due to other things. And that went away because I kept weight off my joints and I just used this to contract muscles. And it was absolutely fantastic. Ever since that, I became a believer in the strength side of it. But for whatever reason during that time, hands were cuffed and I couldn't talk about it. Luckily, I can now. So I'm going to share it. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, let me know on other things that you want to see in regards to this. This is kind of the raw version, just sort of like here's this, check it out. We're going to test it, see if you like it, and we're going to stay with the playlist on more performance and strength stuff at this point. Today, as you can see, it's going to be focusing on chest and side delts in particular, and I'll talk about why I chose side delts as opposed to just delts in general. Kind of my sort of my theory as to where delts should be trained if you're going to focus on them. First things first, we're going to go over the kind of classroom work, the science behind it, sort of the nerdy stuff, the stuff that I like about strength and conditioning, about exercise science, about the beauty of building muscle and gaining strength and getting hypertrophy. And those things, all those components actually can help get you out of pain to begin with. So if you're like, oh, my back is sore, oh, my shoulder is sore, believe it or not, start doing a little workout. You'd be surprised on how your range of motion increases. You'd be surprised on how a lot of the pain goes away. The muscles start to build strength around the joints. It takes pressure off the joints or the spine. And lo and behold, you're out of pain. And that's the wonderful thing about strength and conditioning. And one of the reasons I love it. And then, of course, you get out of pain. And then suddenly you're like, all right, why don't I go to the next level? And I know what you're thinking. Why in the world would I take somebody serious wearing a hat like that? Come on. I made it look like a cowboy hat, which actually increased the cool points at least by 3%. Maybe not, but it's still, nevertheless going to be the style I use with the ARP Neuro hats. If you, it is a shame, kind of a shameless plug, or perhaps maybe even a shameful plug of something. If you want to go in there and shop arpneuro.com, I get a 10-cent, I think, increase in my salary for the year if you buy 14 of these particular hats. 10 cents goes a long way these days in today's economy. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Here we go. Let's go into the classroom nerdy stuff. Some of this I've actually talked about, so it might be, it might be old news, but it's always good to hear, what has to do with the exercise science portion. So I'm showcasing here the smaller unit along with the larger unit, the PRS and the RX 100, but in particular, direct current in general. We'll talk about why neurologically that's better. But before we even get into the direct current portion of this, understand that if you're a new person going into fitness and you're like, I wonder if I should work out, I always say, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to be an hour workout. It doesn't even have to be a 30-minute workout. Go in and do a few sets. we're talking 4 to 10 sets, and you're going to see some improvement. It's not going to take that long. 10 sets will take long, but 4 sets won't. You go in and do 4 sets, even 3. Studies have shown that newbies who have never touched a weight will see gains by doing between 2 and 4 sets a week. A week. You can verify that. There are some studies out there that have shown that even a little bit, and we're talking newbies, if you haven't touched it, newbies will see gains just doing a little bit through the entire week. So there's a misconception that, oh, I have to go in there and I have to do 5 days a week if I'm going to see any improvement. Eventually, you're going to have to push a little harder, of course. And then if you get into the intermediate and you go into advanced, and if you've been training for a while, obviously it takes a lot more to push those limits and see those increases. But if you are a newbie, you are going to see some gains right away. A lot of it has to do with this neuro gains. What does that mean? So neurologically, just going through a new movement that your body is not used to, that brain is now trying to recircuit, retrain, and basically go through this learning process, so to speak, of how to do that move appropriately. And as a result of that, that reaction gives you gains, whether it's in your arms, your chest. Suddenly you feel your legs getting stronger. For between 4 to 6 weeks, they're saying that, and some would argue, and I know some doctors have said they believe it's even a little bit longer than 6 weeks that you see a lot of these neurological gains. Why am I talking about neuro gains? Well, because we're dealing with a neurological device when it comes to the direct current wave. Alternating current, I know some of you people are like, oh, he's talking about the DC alternating current again, but not everybody has heard this. So, it's just a glorified TENS unit. Nay, it is not a glorified TENS unit. TENS unit is on an alternating current wave. So basically, if you place the pads on your arm, it bounces back and forth. And that is a foreign wave to the way your brain contracts a muscle. Your brain contracts a muscle like a DC. So point A, point B. That is how a DC wave actually contracts. As a result of that, it will recognize this as a harmonious wave. Not only that, it is kind of like this exterior box that we consider your exterior brain to help retrain that. And as you're retraining, you're getting neurological gains by using this device. So couple that with some strength training on the side, and you're going to see a lot of great results, and you're going to do them safely, which makes it absolutely wonderful. Now, moving on to the next portion here. Oh, it didn't take that slide. So let me just go through this. One of the things that I talk about when it comes to strength training is the loaded stretch and going into kind of movements with that loaded stretch. Now, what's important when it comes to strength training is I like full range of motion all the way to the top. If we're talking the stretch and the press of a typical dumbbell press, all the way to the top, and then good slow eccentric movement into a nice deep stretch as far as you can go without pain, and keep trying to tease a little further. There is a myth out there that I want to crack because it's not true, where you have to stop at that 90. And this is where you're going to get the majority of your gains. Now, that part actually is true. The majority of your gains are actually here. But it's also been proven in studies by getting into a deeper stretch, we're seeing better hypertrophy gains the further you can go down and stretch. Now, if you really want to milk it out, you can go a little further and kind of hold it for a couple of seconds and then do what I call an athletic press. Now, be careful with that athletic press, because a lot of times what I see in the gym is a lot of people come here and they'll bounce. And, if you've been training for quite some time, that's probably okay. You're probably going to get away with it. You're probably going to see a lot of gains. However, at some point with heavy weight, you're going to see this kind of bounce position. Suddenly a tweak is going to happen. Muscles, they're getting torn as they're pushing, as you're increasing that range. But then suddenly you go really fast and then there's something kind of tweaks. And before you know it, you're like, I hurt my right pec. Just a slight twinge. So in order to stay away from some of these injuries, I'm a big proponent of a good controlled eccentric to a stretch that you can comfortably do. And you will actually notice that through that stretch, it will get deeper and deeper and your range of motion increase just through doing any type of strength training. And then going into that press motion, you kind of go slow, and then you kind of hit a sort of an athletic, I call athletic press. It doesn't have to go as slow as the eccentric. One of the reasons I don't like firing it up right from the very bottom, I heard a strength coach say this years ago. Think of it as like one of those speed rail trains where, it stops, picks up all the passengers, and then it slowly starts going down the track before it starts to eventually go right into full speed. It doesn't just at stopping point, it doesn't just and fly 120 miles an hour. That would be cool, but a lot of people would probably get injured and break their face, and there would be a lot of lawsuits, and yeah, it wouldn't be a good thing. Same is true with this. You want to slowly get into get the tracks kind of warmed up, and then go into that press. All right, that's traditional strength and conditioning 101. Why is that important with this particular technology? Well, we are going to be doing some things that we can kind of go through with this box where you can focus on that loaded stretch. And not only that, some of the press, but lighter weight. What I usually say is if you want to lift with weight, go 20% of what your max is. So for instance, if you're pressing with the 100-pound dumbbells, kudos to you, because that's an advanced weight for, dumbbell press. You want to press 20 pounds. So if you're using a direct current, you want to go with 20 pounds, 20% of what your max would be, because you want to run through some reps with this. Now, what I usually suggest, and trust me, we're gonna get to the show and tell portion of this eventually. I'm going to show you how to place the pads. I'm going to show you what it does. We're going to see it in action. Show and tell, always fun. Get your head out of the gutter. Not that type of show and tell. This is PG, maybe PG-13, just because of bad jokes. And not dirty jokes, just bad dad jokes. Sometimes they come in, so PG-13. But yeah, show and tell and the action of this. All right, moving on. When we get to that portion, you can actually just do it with time. And that's what I'm going to show today is through that time portion is going maybe 10 minutes on the normal, 10 minutes on reverse. So if you do happen to have this particular device, I'm going to fire it up. And we're gonna kind of plug it in. I'm gonna show you where to. I told you this was raw, so if you still hear me, that's great. That's great news. Sorry about that. It was just a kind of a misfire. I don't know what happened there. We have had a lot of thunderstorms, so maybe that's on me. And the lights just flickered, so I might have lost power for a split second. That's my excuse anyway. All right, we're placing this in. We're putting the cords on, and then I also want to show off some of these new pads that I started using, and I love them. And I do recommend, if you are going to do this specifically for performance, for strength, that you look into getting these. They are more expensive, but in my opinion, they're worth it if you truly want to invest in this when it comes to the strength and performance side. So I will show you these. We kind of pushed them in the beginning, so if you're following us, you recognize it. These are a 3x4 pad as opposed to 2x2, so they're larger. They cover a lot more ground. Love them for that. And all you workers out there, stop calling me. This isn't the time. 9 o'clock is at 9. It's 9 a.m. Central Time or Eastern Time. That's where I'm at. And this is when everybody and their mother thinks that it's time to call Jake. All right, here we go. We're placing these on 4x3 pads, and I'll show you exactly where to go with this in just a second. Again, I told you this was raw. And so if you are following along, now if you have some smaller unit, you can do the same thing. Now there's going to be some differences with the settings that we're going to go through that you won't be able to do with some units, but you'll still get that direct current benefit. And if you are interested in buying these pads, let's go back to that little shameless plug here, right down here. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, maybe that's a sign. These are in our shop, by the way. So if you want to purchase this, it is in our Arpnero shop. Okay, so we're going to have to get crazy here. Give me a second. All right. So what we're going to do, one of the key things to think about, and I'm on one lead right now. This is just channel one basically, and the black is going to be running to the red. So black runs to red. Always keep that in mind. Why is that important when it comes to the strength and conditioning? Black tends to be the stronger hit. So if I want to target pecs first, I want to start with black. Now we'll be able to adjust that, and we will adjust that. Without actually removing the pads. Now I'm going to go long ways. And a lot of times when I had the 4x2s, I would actually go horizontally rather than vertical, which you can still do that with these. But this is such a nice large pad that it covers a lot of ground. And I like it because the balance of the lead when you're talking when you're talking like gravity, it doesn't pull it off. It's like it's hanging nice and loose. And then we're actually going to go to side delts. And I told you I would talk about side delt. And what you're going to notice with this, one of the reasons I do like these pads is literally look at that movement. It's crinkling, but then it goes right back into place. So it does a really good job. Occasionally I still have to slap it on. It's, it still has that adhesive. There's no way around that, but it's so much better to go on the shoulders. Now, the reason why I hit side delts is, as you can see, I'm right there. Maybe I'm a little too far to the rear. Come over a little bit more right on side delt. Is a lot of times front delts, this anterior gets a lot of work, whether it's through press, whether it's through flies. When you're working chest, you're working front delts. Rear delts, you're covering a lot of rear delts when you're doing lat pull downs, when you're doing rows and anything else with back. Side delts often get overlooked. One of the cool things about side delts, there's multiple things about the side delt, but one of the cool things is they recover. It's a small muscle and it recovers very fast. You could essentially work side delts if you're a bodybuilder or you're just working out for your health and you want to build sort of like that V taper look. Side delt, you could actually work 3 to 4 times a week and it's going to recovers very fast. Not only that, it's funny because when you talk to a lot of these Hollywood trainers and they talk about their workout plan and it's like, how did The Rock get jacked? And then they show him he's doing like dips and core and bench, and that's how he got big. Maybe The Rock's a bad example, but truthfully, that's not what's going to give you the look of being big. That big look is on the side delts. That's where you really kind of open it up. All right, I digress. No time on here. I'm going to put in 10 minutes just to kind of give you an example of this. And we're going to run through this. If you are kind of following along, you're going to go 10 minutes. Oh, get that glare out of there. And then, of course, we're going to tap 500 on that pulse frequency. And we want to go all the way down to 40. So hit the minus button on 500 and go all the way down to 40. You're going to have to hold it there until it reaches 40. Somebody should have like a quick button where all you have to do is push 40 and it's automatically there. Moving on, just a suggestion. All right, so right now, the current is on continuous. If you look at the bottom left of this screen, you'll see CONT. That's right over here. Let me get that glare out of there. Oh, we'll get better at this, I promise. CONT. We want to tap on that, and then we actually want to go 5/1. So if you could see that duty cycle, my goodness, 5/1. There we go. 5/1. Get it together, Jake. I haven't had my coffee yet. What that means is a lot of people think it's seconds, and then they're like, oh, it's a lot longer. It is, because essentially what you're doing is you're doing a cycle. It's duty cycle. So it's going through the entire wave cycle, which takes a little bit more time. And 5/1 is about 12 seconds of constant contractions, and then it pulls off between 3 to 4 seconds. But that 5/1 is really good. So we're going to start this, and all you want to do is start bringing it up. And what you're going to see right away is it's going to react. I'm not doing anything. I'm just turning it up. I'm barely at 10. But what it does is it ramps up and then it pulls down. Now, there's multiple things you can do with this. You could do it with weights. One of the things, I didn't realize how high I went right away, but see how quickly it grabs and then it holds and then pulls down. Now, a recommendation with this, and some ways I've been training it, is you're just holding that loaded stretch right there. Oh yeah, that's the real deal. And then when it pulls off, as it releases, you can go into that press. There is no rest, by the way. This is a rough 5-minute workout. Hold it. Really emphasize that loaded stretch. And then when it pulls off, you can go into the press. That's if you wanted to use weights. The way I used to do it in COVID, I would just sit here and just relax. Let it just contract and then pull off when it's done. Oh, and of course, if you are using the control with the RX, you don't have to do 5/1. 5/1 is definitely what I recommend because I've seen a lot of great results with this. But you can go down to like 2/1 or 3/1. If you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself, you can certainly drop those numbers. I'm sweating already and I'm only at 20, so it gives you a good idea of like how quickly you fatigue your muscles. Now, you can do this at a lighter number. And we have done this at a lighter number when it comes to like warming things up and just isolating certain points. Let's go up. Now, one of the things I say when it comes to recovery, you want to go lighter when it comes to this machine. But when we're talking therapy, when we're talking getting out of pain, when we're talking getting strength and performance, I have a rule of thumb. Don't be a weenie. That's right. Don't be a weenie. That's my motto of the day. Oh, yeah. And I'm being a weenie right now. Let's go up again. You are going to see the best results by constantly pushing this. You're not going to get injured. You will get fatigue a lot quicker. As you can see, I'm already running out of breath. Some of that has to do with me not having the ability to keep my mouth shut. I got some questions coming up. So as we're going through, and we'll do this for another couple minutes and then we'll reverse it. If you're doing it with me, you will feel the difference. So a lot of the power is here. I still feel it in my delts, but if you really want to put a lot of that pressure on the delts or more of it, we can reverse it. And then the heavier hit's going to be on the side delts, and then the passive will be on the chest. I will tell you, if you're pushing the numbers properly, there's no passive motion on this. Oy. But yeah, this pretty much kind of sums up a workout for this. You don't have to do a lot. I personally believe by not going through movements, you're able to handle more current. The higher you go in the current, the better it is for this. And every time, and if you notice while it's on, I try to go up a little bit just because that's where you feel it. Here we go. Hi, Jake. Does black pads give stronger hit on the PRS as well? Thanks. All the best. Yeah, great question. They're talking about this particular device right here. The smaller one, same rules apply. Black is, Matt Dill always says a good thing. I like it. The red is the stop. That's where it ends. Starts with black, ends with red. So yeah, the black is definitely going to be the heavier hit. The only difference, one of the differences with the PRS is that you have to switch the pads manually when you want to change that. Never do shoulders without those new pads. Yeah, I actually agree. I mean, I have done shoulders with the other pads, but look at that. I'm sweating. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm already sweating, and these pads are just I'm not doing any movements, but you certainly could, and they handle quite well. And these aren't even new pads. I've been using these. These were the testing pads before we decided to, go out and buy them. And they essentially, I've probably used them 30 times now. That might be an exaggeration, maybe 20. All right, we're at 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn this down, and then we're going to go from normal, we're going to tap into reverse. So reverse should be highlighted, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to build it up. Mind you, we're only doing 10 minutes of this. It's all it takes. Trust me, it's all it takes. Boy, I can't wait to get some coffee. But I will say, the front pack to delt, impeccable. I told you PG-13 bad jokes. I didn't mean to say that. I apologize for all the kids that are out there. I'm sorry. Don't be like me. Stay in school. Uh, don't tell bad dad jokes. But that I can't apologize for being myself. That's just the hand that I was dealt. Oh my goodness. All right. So there it is. It's really hitting on the delts. And that's it. If you want to go through movements, as you notice, I don't have to. I kind of like just sitting there and going through it, getting those muscle contractions. And if you're watching this now and you want to do it, try it for 10 minutes. Try it 5 minutes on the normal polarity, 5 minutes on the reverse, and you will be absolutely surprised on what you'll accomplish with this. We got what, 4 more minutes. We're going to hang in there. And before I roll over this cord, let me pull this up. Oh, there we go. That's the one setback. I wish you could get cordless DC, but that hasn't come out yet. They'll do a little pad tap, but pads have been great. Even though I am sweating, it is hitting. Oh my goodness. How high are you guys? I'm only at 30 right now. Yes, I know I used to max this out, but I did do a workout. That's my excuse this morning. And I actually did chest and side delts. So when, and that's one of the recommendations. I'll go up a little bit. Uh-oh. I bumped it a little too much. Oh, there it is. I'm not going to be able to move for a second. Oh, all right. We're at 40. Pretty good. I got some work to do. What I will say is where I found a lot of benefits to this is actually going through your actual workout, because I still like lifting weights, but then finishing with something like this. One of the problems when it comes to strength and conditioning is, truthfully, where you're going to get all your gains is or your best gains is when you're going to failure. But the problem with going to failure is that risk-reward kind of relationship. And if you go to failure on every workout, you're really risking injury. I'll talk about that in a second as I get my mind correct on this. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment section. You can also reach out to us at info@arpneuro.com. There it is right there, info@arpneuro.com. Ask any questions when it comes to this. And certainly I will get back to you ASAP. And of course, if you want one of these cool hats, we do have the Arp Neuro store. Just go to arpneuro.com and go to the shop and you can purchase. I think we still sell these. I tell you what, if you get up to 100, you take a picture and they take video of you at 100 and you send it to me, I will mail you mine, which looks like a cowboy hat. That's how I roll with mine. I turn my bill up. Some people go down, some people go straight, some people I tilt it like a cowboy hat. All right, I got a minute left. Let's go up to stop being a weenie. Oh, don't be a weenie is the motto, right? 45. I'm being a weenie at 45, though. Before you knock it, you must try it. And I will tell you this. This particular model, this RX100, hits heavier than anything else on the market. I haven't felt anything heavier than this. Now, if we worked a little longer, eventually you can max this thing out and get up to 100. It's very possible. You don't have to. As you can see, I am definitely sweating. It's going down to 30 seconds. But yeah, it's definitely a workout, and it's firing up. Let's go one more before it shuts off. Oh, there it is. Woo! I was gonna try to get up to 50 before it shut off, so I failed myself. Yeah, so let's pull these off. One of the things that happens is when you do build a sweat, one of the things I recommend. Now look at these pads. Look how pliable these are. Now you have to be careful because that's the back end that doesn't have the adhesive. So try not to do this. But even if you do, they pull off quite nicely. Now in this case, they're sweaties. People ask a lot about, what do you do with the pads after you work out? I like to take these and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to lay it face up, rather, where the adhesive holds or the adhesive is facing up. Let it get some air. 15 minutes. that adhesive actually, the like whatever moisture that's on there, it dries up and that adhesive comes back, believe it or not. And I didn't come up with that. That was one of the athletes I work with, and he started doing it, and he told me about it. So I gave it a shot, and it definitely made a difference. So to keep the life of your pads, and this works whether you have these fancy pads or you have these new ones. But let me grab one of these. We'll use this one. Look at how pliable. Like, it's just, even though I'm sweating, watch this. It's still, I know it seems like I'm selling these, but anybody who's used these for any period of time, you know the frustration in going on the shoulders. This side delt, again, I'm sweating. This is, I'm not playing around. It's not like I put baby oil on or anything like that, that you know of. All right, so just like that. Look at that, and it's still, and I'm kind of being aggressive with it. Nothing tenting up. And what I mean by tenting up, with the heavier ones that have that kind of like that plastic coating on the top, they don't move with with your skin or with your body, and they don't round around the shoulder. I know these are more expensive, but again, I get 10 cents added to my salary at the end of the year for every 25 packs you buy. Again, that adds up. So you're helping me out. You're helping the economy out. You're helping your muscles out. And I don't know. I heard that it saves a puppy's life every time you buy one. That's a rumor. I don't know if that's true, but who doesn't like puppies? Just my opinion. All right, so there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, this is Direct Current Live until we come up with a real name. Someone has a comment here. I'll try to answer that before I move on and leave you guys alone. How can you tell when a pad is old due for replacement? You know, that's actually a great question. Let me catch my breath. I talk too much. So when it comes to the traditional pads, you can actually wrap them in some cases. And you can, even when the adhesive goes away, I've used pads that wouldn't stick. You know, even if it's on the chest, or sometimes if it's on the arm or the legs, I would just wrap them and it'll still work. As long as you're getting current, it can work. The problem with that is when you need the adhesive, when it comes to something like the delt, you're wasting your time. It's very difficult to wrap the delt. If you have some sort of compression shirt, you can probably do it. But at that point, they're probably junk. I got to be honest. These are the first. I've used these for over a month, and see that sticky's coming back. It's already coming back, and I had them face up. Honestly, I can't tell you what the life of these are, but I used to say I don't think they're any more than the cheaper ones. I actually am starting to believe they are, because they recover a lot easier, and that pliability. One of the problems with the other ones, when you're moving through it, that adhesive gets pulled off every time. So think of this: when you're going through movements, that adhesive keeps doing this, and you keep placing it on, and so more gets transferred to your skin. It loses its adhesive. This one doesn't do that. As you can see, it stays secure to the shoulder. That's why I recommend those with the cheaper pads. Every time you can, make sure you wrap them, because that adhesive stays secure to the skin and it lasts longer. So, as long as you're getting current, you can still use them. But for the most part, get something like this. They're going to last you a lot longer. Like I said, I'm still testing these. I don't know how long they are. Apologize for the shirtless stuff, but there's no other way to do this, especially in some cases. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit the like button, comment, share. Check out our website, arpneuro.com. Go through some of the protocols. We have some when it comes to the PRS. If you want to get treated, arpneuro.com, and then just go to the patient section, and then where to find, any type of provider near you. And if there's not a provider near you, reach out to us, because we could probably help you through Zoom, and we have done that in the past. Otherwise, let me know what you want to see next. We are going to be doing this every Tuesday and Thursday for the time being. I have a playlist that I'm going to start to build on, created from this one. We did chest and delts, and we're going to separate another one. So tell me what you want to see when it comes to strength and performance, and maybe muscle isolation. and even other specific things that perhaps we haven't done yet. And we'll put that on our list and make sure we give it to you. Either way, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Tuesday, 9 a.m. back in the same place, probably the same dumb jokes. But if you come back, chances are I'll be wearing this again. So the treat is definitely on you. I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna get some coffee. You guys take care.